The emergency session of the Terran High Council convened at 347 hours, Seoul Standard Time. The urgency was unprecedented first contact with an alien species, and they were begging for Earth's help. Chancellor Victoria Kane stood before the massive holographic display, showing the alien vessel that had appeared at the edge of the solar system 3 hours earlier. The ship was elegant, almost organic in its curves, and clearly damaged. Scorch marks and hull breaches told the story of a desperate escape. The alien delegation is requesting immediate humanitarian assistance, reported Defense Minister Nakamura, his expression grim. Their homeworld, Zephyria Prime, is under attack by something they call the Devourers. They've lost 60% of their population in the past standard month. The hologram shifted to show the aliens themselves tall, graceful beings with luminescent skin and large, pleading eyes. Their leader, who called himself Kethleon, had spent the last 2 hours transmitting increasingly desperate messages to Earth. Honored humans, Kethleon's translated voice echoed through the council chamber. We know you are warriors. Your species' history shows remarkable skill in combat. We offer you everything: our technology, our resources, our eternal loyalty, in exchange for your help against the Devourers. Trade Minister Chen leaned forward. Their technology is centuries ahead of ours, Chancellor. Their medical advances alone could extend human lifespan by decades. Their energy systems could solve our resource problems forever. And yet they're losing to these Devourers, observed Admiral Reyes, the scarred veteran of the Mars Liberation Campaign. That tells us something important about this enemy. Chancellor Kane studied the data streaming across her personal display. The Zephyrians had provided detailed information about their attackers, a hive-minded species that consumed entire worlds, leaving nothing but barren rock in their wake. They had already destroyed 17 civilizations in this arm of the galaxy. The Devourers move in a predictable pattern, Intelligence Director Volkov reported. They consume a world completely, then move to the next nearest inhabited system. After Zephyria Prime, their trajectory leads directly to us. The council chamber fell silent. How long until they reach Earth? Kane asked quietly. Best estimates suggest 18 to 24 standard months, Volkov replied. The Zephyrians could potentially hold them off for another 6 months if we provide immediate military support. Kane looked around the table at the 12 most powerful people in human space. These were not idealists or peacekeepers. They were the leaders who had unified Earth after the climate wars, who had colonized Mars despite corporate resistance, who had built humanity into a force that even the most militant factions in the galaxy had learned to respect. Director Volkov, she said finally, show me the Devourer fleet composition. The hologram shifted again, displaying the enemy forces in terrifying detail. Thousands of bioships, each one the size of a small moon, moving with purpose and devastating efficiency through space. My God, whispered Trade Minister Chen. How do we fight something like that? We don't, Kane replied, her voice cutting through the chamber like a blade. At least not the way the Zephyrians want us to. Defense Minister Nakamura frowned. Chancellor, surely you're not suggesting we abandon them? Kane stood and walked to the display, her reflection visible in its surface. I'm suggesting something much more practical. Admiral Reyes, what's our current military assessment of Zephyrian defensive capabilities? Impressive but flawed, Reyes answered immediately. They rely too heavily on energy shields and long-range weapons. Their ships are fast but lightly armored. They're accustomed to fighting civilized opponents who follow rules of engagement. And the Devourers? Pure biological warfare. No technology in the traditional sense, but they adapt rapidly to whatever's thrown at them. The Zephyrians' energy weapons are becoming less effective with each engagement. Kane nodded grimly. Director Volkov, I want a full analysis of both fleets' capabilities. Trade Minister Chen Prepare resource allocation projections for total war production. Admiral Reyes, begin mobilization of all reserve fleets. Chancellor, Kethleon's voice interrupted from the still open communication channel. Please, time is running short. Our defenses are failing. We need your answer. Kane looked directly into the alien's large, desperate eyes. You'll have our answer within the hour, Kethleon. Please stand by. She cut the transmission and turned back to the council. Ladies and gentlemen, she began, her voice carrying the weight of species-defining decision. The Zephyrians are asking us to help them fight a war they're going to lose. They want us to sacrifice human lives and resources to buy them a few more months of existence. But their technology, Chen began, will do us no good if we're all dead, Kane cut him off. The Devourers are coming for us anyway. That's not in question. The question is whether we face them as weakened allies of a failing civilization or as the strongest possible version of ourselves. Admiral Reyes's eyes narrowed as understanding dawned. You're proposing we take the Zephyrian fleet for ourselves. I'm proposing we survive, Kane replied firmly. The Zephyrians have 6 months before their world falls. In those 6 months, they'll continue to weaken the Devourer fleet, learn their tactics, understand their biology. And when Zephyria Prime finally falls, we'll be ready. Defense Minister Nakamura looked horrified. You're talking about letting an entire civilization die. I'm talking about ensuring that humanity doesn't join them, Kane shot back. The Zephyrians are already doomed. They know it, even if they won't admit it, but their ships, their technology, their knowledge that can survive. With us. She activated the communication array again. Kethleon's hopeful face appeared immediately. Kethleon, Kane said, her voice carrying false sympathy. Humanity has made its decision. We cannot provide the support you requested. The alien's face crumpled in despair. But surely you understand. If we fall, you will be next. We could face this threat together. We understand perfectly, Kane replied. That's why, effective immediately, humanity is declaring war on the Zephyrian Empire. You have technology. We need to survive the coming storm. We'll take it by force, rather than lose it to the Devourers. You cannot. Kethleon's voice cracked with disbelief. We came to you for help. We offered you everything. Kane's expression didn't change. You offered us everything you have. We're simply taking everything you will have. Your ships, your weapons, your research, all of it will serve humanity's survival. Your sacrifice will not be forgotten. The transmission cut, leaving the council chamber in stunned silence. Admiral Reyes, Kane commanded, execute Operation Harvest Moon. I want every Zephyrian vessel captured intact. Use of lethal force is authorized. As alarms began sounding throughout the solar system and humanity's war machine stirred to life, Chancellor Kane stared out at the stars that would soon belong to her species alone. In 18 months, she said quietly, when the Devourers arrive at Earth, they'll find humanity armed with Zephyrian technology, experienced in galactic warfare, and utterly prepared to do whatever it takes to survive. Behind her, the first human warships began their acceleration toward the crippled alien vessel, carrying not rescue, but conquest. Sometimes, Kane reflected, the greatest act of mercy was refusing to die alongside the doomed.